Welcome to the very first maiden voyage of the Think Before You Post podcast, where we talk about all things digital citizenship and educational technology. I am Christina Jantra, and this is Ann-Therese Brent.
Hello.
And Paula Evans.
Hi.
Okay, you're going to have to say a little more so the people listening who can't see your face can know.
I'm Paula Evans, a content navigator for Neptune Navigate.
Thank you.
And I'm Ann-Therese Brandt, another content navigator at Neptune Navigate.
All right. Now, to start off, we should tell the Neptune Navigate origin story.
Absolutely.
So we'll start off serious and degrade from there.
Perfect. Sounds good.
So believe it or not, this all started from a PowerPoint that I created. And I tried to think about how many years ago it was. But because of the pandemic, I've lost track. I don't know.
You lost a whole year and a half.
So if it was like 2008,
At least.
would it be?
I think so. It'd have to be.
So we all worked at the same school, private school here in Tyler, Texas. And my job was to roll out iPads to all the high school students. So in planning for that, I really felt like I needed to educate our parents better on the technology their kids are already using, because I'd already seen in working with high school students that they had made some choices, posted things, shared things that had consequences. Some consequences that were limited, and others that were really lifelong. And so I just felt like our parents, our school families needed some more information. So I sat down to try to put something together, and I did what everybody else does. I got overwhelmed because I literally couldn't figure out, where do you start? I mean, all of the, I mean, if you're just going to sit down with a parent and say, hey, you're about to give your kid their first smartphone, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything. So I got busy doing other things, and I didn't do anything. And then two pivotal things happened once we handed out the iPads. The first was we had handed out the iPads, and a high school student and two of her friends walked in my office and said, the little girl was clearly upset, and she said that another one of our students, a male student, had been sexually harassing her via chat, and they were using a third-party app. Problem was, with this third-party chat app, it didn't keep the full conversation. It only kept 50 interactions. Mm-hmm. And then when the 51st one came, it was gone, and she didn't take a screenshot. And so she was upset, but I was limited in what I could do about it. And so that was frustrating. As I'm explaining that story at dinner one night, the app they were using was Kik. And so I'm explaining that at the dinner table. And a few days later, my daughter, who was like 6th grade, 7th grade, is in the car with my husband's driving, and she and her friends are in the back seat. And Eric hears one of the girls say, "Have you heard about that new app called Kik?" Eric's ears perk up. And she proceeds to tell them, yeah, on Kik, I'm pretending to be in high school. And she'd made all these friends that she was conversing with.
As a high schooler.
And she was 6th, 7th grade. And so Eric gets home and tells me the story and says, what are you going to do about it? As husbands do. And I said, well, you're going to call all of those dads and tell them, and then their moms will call me and I'll explain it to them. And I had that conversation with all the moms, telling them my concern about this app, and they all said the exact same thing to me. Christina, this is too overwhelming. all this technology. I don't know how to keep up. And so, you know what they had chosen to do? Nothing. And so that kind of got me thinking again, I need to do something. I need to educate our parents. They need to know what's going on in the digital world. And then this happened. It was October, and our school has had chapel once a week. And there was a chapel that we did every year where a handful of students would stand on stage and they would show pictures on the big screen about the mission trip they went on that summer. And they would tell how they met all these interesting people all over the world. And we'd leave there feeling really good about ourselves, but not this time. This particular October, one of our senior girls stood in front of the entire high school student body and explained to them that her senior year wouldn't look like theirs because she would be testifying at a trial, because when she was in the 6th grade, she took her laptop into her bedroom and played Yahoo Pool with a guy, some just rando dude. And that random guy spent from 6th grade until her junior year, he spent all that time grooming her. Long story short, her junior year, he came here to our town and he raped her. And no one in her world knew he existed because he had whittled her world down to just him. Now, remember, because y'all both know this sweet girl, she was National Honor Society. She was on the drill team. She was on the tennis team. She was an accomplished equestrian rider. She was involved, had friends. She wasn't a loner weirdo. She was beautiful, well-adjusted high school kid. And
Good
that happened to
family.
her. Great family. And so I left that chapel and said, oh, now I'll do something. So I locked myself in my office, spent a bunch of hours putting a PowerPoint together. We advertised it to all our school families. I mean, I had spent hours putting this PowerPoint together. We advertised it, and it was a dark, rainy Tuesday night in February, and 12 people showed up. And I gave those 12 parents, mostly moms, everything I had learned. And I felt really frustrated that this was good information that parents needed, and only 12 people showed up. So those 12 people at the end said, this was great. Can we do it again, and can we invite our friends, the parents that our kids are friends with, so that they can know this? And so we did it 4 more times. And the last time we did it, a sweet student who spent her senior year testifying at 3 trials before we put him away in the Texas State Penitentiary, she came and talked to the parents because she said, I want the parents to look at me, because when you tell the story, I'm not who they see. Mm-hmm. Parents have they have a view, or they have an opinion that says, that wouldn't happen to my kid, because my kid has friends. My kid wouldn't do that. And she goes, I want them to look at me to know that if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And so I put a PowerPoint together, and that was 2008. And I just kept getting invited to go talk about this stuff all over the country. And Eric kept asking me to quit my job and do this full time. I didn't know what it would look like. And then 4 years ago, I said, okay, I will do it. And we dreamed up what it will look like. And this is not at all what we dreamed up. Not one bit. And so Neptune Navigate was born 4 years ago. And so now we have this thing that we're really proud of.
Mm-hmm. And it is a good thing. Wow. It is a good thing. Yeah. Because so many more parents are being educated, but we're giving tools to the kids on how to be smarter and safer.
Yeah.
We are.
So Neptune Navigate.
So question.
Yep.
Where'd you get the name Neptune Navigate?
Well, Navigate was obvious. We wanted to help people navigate the digital world. That one was easy. But Neptune, we're part of a larger company, which is really funny. So we are one half of the company. And y'all know the one side of the company is background music. So Eric, my husband, started this company when he got laid off from a job that paid really good money. And we needed to, pay the bills and feed the children. And so he was going to start a advertising agency, and our friend owned a water park. And that first summer, Eric was going to handle the advertising and marketing for this water park. And our friend, the music provider for that summer, fell through, and he needed music. And so we had owned a radio station, and we had recording equipment. This isn't, by the way, any of our recording equipment. Ours wasn't this nice. These are really nice microphones. But so Eric put together on free software, it was actually a Windows media player playlist. He put together what he called Splash Radio, because it was a water park. And a company that owned a few water parks came to look at our friend's water park at one of his slides, and they heard this Splash Radio, and they were like, "What's that?" And our friend Johnny said, "Well, it's my marketing guy. He put it together for me." Guy said, "Can he put it together for me?" Well, Eric was thinking, it's just a free Windows media player. But he said yes, and Johnny said, "I think we might be onto something." So we created Splash Radio Water. We had software developed. So we were selling a product that was Splash Radio, but they also called the software program Splash Radio. And so when they would meet to talk about the software, it got confusing because the product was called the same thing as the software. So at some point, the guy said, "Can we've got to create we need to differentiate between the two." So someone said, let's call it the software Neptune. Water, the Greek god of water. Yeah. And it was music. Neptune. Everybody get it?
Gotcha. Clever.
Sounds
So
like
all
a
of our
marketing
products
person.
for the whole company have Neptune at the front of them. So Neptune Navigate seemed to work.
Pretty clever.
Well, there you go. Okay. And you've worked for us how long?
And never knew that story.
Never
knew that story, how we got the name.
That is true.
But it's interesting.
Learn something new
All
today.
right, so here's a test for both of you. Our school product is not the only Neptune Navigate product that we have. We have, I'm counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other products. I think it's 6. How many can you list, Paula?
Okay. Do you want us to go back and forth?
Oh, that's fun.
Let's do that. Okay.
Let's do it.
So game time.
No.
No, what do you mean?
Navigate products.
Navigate product. Navigate for athletes, student athletes.
Navigate for business.
Navigate for churches.
Which, by the way, is free.
Yes.
Nice. Navigate for Greek life.
Yes.
Navigate for business.
I already said that.
I
already.
said that. Okay. Oh.
Okay. Here's where I'm throwing y'all off.
Oh, so now we've got college athlete
Thank you.
and high school athlete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, why?
Why do we have the two different college and athlete?
Why did we started, and I thought it was a great idea just to do Navigate K-12.
You take this one.
Okay, well, there's just a need across all aspects. In business, you got issues of cybersecurity, which the majority of breaches come from employees clicking on a link or getting an email. So that pretty much covers a lot of what we do with the business product. And the athlete, we read every single day. Part of our job is to curate content, and you'd be shocked. Actually, you probably wouldn't be shocked at how many athletes have lost scholarships. They've, lost their access or their acceptance to colleges. Athletes, both at the high school level, and brings a really negative reflection on their schools, but also the high school and the college level. And it really is an epidemic. And most of it is just stupid things, just not thinking about, it's all about what they can post or share or comment on that moment without any idea about the or any thought to the consequences.
Because they didn't think first.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
The thinking part. What we're asking, okay, now we'll talk about it now. So high school student athletes, and heck, we named the podcast that, Think Before You Post, but we're asking kids who have underdeveloped brains to slow down and think, when the part of the brain that is the governor or the brake system, that's better. The brake system of the brain is the very last part of the brain to mature. And all the research tells us it doesn't do that till about 25. And so we're asking 15-year-olds to slow down. So
it's hard.
The work we have is difficult.
Yeah.
All right. So what's Greek life? Were you in a sorority?
No, I was not.
Okay.
But my daughter
Your
was.
daughter was.
Your daughter was, and my daughter is. So why are we doing, back to you, because your daughter came up with the idea for Greek life. Why?
Because she saw the same thing. Kids making poor decisions, breaking the guidelines of their sorority or fraternity. Again, fraternities being kicked off campus, closing down their chapters for a variety of things. And again, it's a poor reflection on the school. It's a poor reflection on the other girls or guys in the sorority or fraternity. And it's a black spot on the chapter.
Right.
And so again, it's the same thing. It's a lack of thinking through what the consequences are. Things like if you're out there and you're in a sorority, things like getting pictures taken holding solo cups, that implies that you're underage drinking. That breaks the guidelines of the sorority. And so therefore, you're held accountable for that. And again, it's a poor reflection on you, your school, your chapter, and your fellow members. So it is a huge deal. And again, all these principles, I think it's really important to realize that all of these principles are the same across the board, but how they apply and the repercussions and the consequences are different for each of these products that we're creating is for a specific audience, but the principles are the same.
You know, one of the first Greek organizations that contacted us when we launched Navigate for Greek Life was a really small fraternity. And the reason they reached out to us was because in our marketing materials, our first marketing materials had some headlines, and they were one of the headlines because one of their chapters had made a social media post about that the upcoming chapter meeting, and the post was a picture of, I don't know, the president or one of the members encouraging the guys to come to chapter, and the way he was encouraging them was with a large stash of marijuana in a state where marijuana was not legal, and the university did not appreciate that post at all, and so that was what brought our first lead for Greek Life. And then we did Navigate for Church. What do you think, Paula?
Honestly, I think it's a great, but I can't figure out why churches aren't taking advantage of it more. We do the same principles, the same topics, and back it up with scripture. And so if you are a church, you've got that right at your hands, right at your fingertips. And for little kids up through parents helping little kids on the same things about cyberbullying, digital footprint, digital citizenship. And that has been
Well, it's now a product that we'll give away
For free.
So if
Yeah.
your church wants our Navigate for Church product, all you got to do is reach out to us and we'll get you set up. So
Can I say one more thing about church I find really, really great, and it's an under-resourced area, is youth pastors.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about if you're in the younger kids, we're really prepping them for the time when they're going to have devices or they're going to have social media, although a lot of them have it before it's legal. So we're going to talk about that later. But, parents typically have their kids in church or in a program because they want values and things like that. They want their kids getting the same messages that they're giving at home. That's what we're finding. But what's happening is because parents don't know enough, and like you said, they're like, where do I start?
Yeah.
This needs to be a conversation that's happening in churches with those youth.
And yet, I'll tell you, much to my frustration, we've met with so many pastors, and almost every time they look at us and say, "Is that really something for us?" Is
Yes.
that
Right.
really-"
Yes.
And
yes,
every
it
time I
is.
say, "Look, does your church have a website? Does your church have a podcast? Does your church stream its content on the internet?" And yes, and this is a point I won't belabor it, but it just annoys me to no end when youth pastors only communicate to their youth group via social media. So if you're in 6th grade and your youth group starts at 6th grade, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't
anyway.
have. Yeah.
So
Yep.
youth pastors do better, and come get Navigate Church for free.
Yeah.
That was my sermon for the day.
Good
I
one.
love it.
All right. So those are all our products. And you kind of touched on it a little. And I was going to be mean and quiz y'all on what are our topics. But you said a few of them. You said cyberbullying, digital footprint. But we also do media literacy. Anybody want to say why that's so important in 2022? What is media literacy for those who don't know that phrase? Anybody? Paula,
go
Y'all are
ahead.
putting me on the spot, man. Media literacy.
I'm just here to ask questions.
Yeah, gee whiz. Well, now I feel like I'm going to fail something. I'm nervous.
Well,
Let me
let's
Google
just
it.
say
What
you're
is
you have
the
computer,
Googler?
which is the Googler.
I'll give you all the actual definition of media literacy.
That's a good start. The
Yeah,
actual
there.
Do you not
definition.
remember it from any of our scripts?
Oh, I do, of course.
Okay.
The ability to access, analyze, and evaluate information. How's that?
Oh,
Online,
nice.
technical, well, in a variety of forms.
In a
variety of forms.
Okay, wait. Say it one more time. The ability to
Access, analyze, evaluate, and create
media
in a variety of forms. That's what it is. Yeah.
So the parts of that we really focus on is access is easy. Anybody 3-year-olds don't have any trouble accessing information online. The area that we try to focus on is analyze and evaluate. And that is where we as a people across the globe need help.
Well,
especially what?
Everybody wants to, I got it. Let me share it. I don't need to figure out if it's right or not. I don't need to figure out if it's true or not.
Because it's too easy to hit share or retweet. But it's another step to analyze and evaluate. All right, so that's media literacy. We also cover tech laws.
Oh, yeah.
What anybody?
Why do we do tech laws?
Yeah.
Because we need to let the kids know, well, not just kids, adults as much. We see so many examples of adults who are pretending to be someone else online. And that in many states is against the law.
Online impersonation. Yeah.
With the older kids, we go into sexting and sitting. Well, we even do this with the little kids too. If someone sends you an inappropriate picture, and with the older kids, we talk that's basically, if you share it, that's child pornography.
Absolutely.
Distribution. So that's extremely important because parents don't want to admit it, but it's happening all the time.
Yeah. And I'll just, so you'll hang on to the end. I think next episode.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
tech laws come into focus, especially with regards to many of the TikTok challenges.
Yeah.
So that's what we cover. Also, wait, one more. Social media. You said digital.
Social media digital basics.
Privacy.
Oh, privacy.
Yeah.
Tech privacy.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in the next episode.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hey, this was good.
This was fun.
You almost said this was fun.
I did.
I did
almost
say
said,
it was fun.
Okay, it's fun. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. I like it.
It was better than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Until next time. This was our maiden voyage with a Think Before You Post podcast.